So in terms of the notice, the first reads as follows. The current motions of non-confidence against Green Party of Canada leader Annamie Paul will no longer be considered during the term of the current Federal Council. No further motions of non-confidence against the leader will be proposed to the current Federal Council or prior to the next general meeting of the Green Party. The second notice reads, the membership review process with regard to Annamie Paul's membership in the Green Party has been suspended. So that is very good news. And while I can't enter into all of the details, let me say that I believe that a very big part of my job as leader of the Green Party of Canada is to ensure that our members and our volunteers and the candidates that are working so hard to get elected and bring a bigger Green voice to Parliament deserve certainty. And I considered it my job to do that. And, you know, sometimes enough is enough. And it's important for us to be able to move forward with the certainty we need to win seats in the next election. This moment has been, I did not time it with the bells, but I will say it's apropos. This moment has been one of the most painful in my life. This for my family, and I want to be upfront about that. It is extremely hard to have your integrity questioned when you value it so much. It's extremely hard to have your commitment to human rights and social justice questioned. It was very hard and remains very hard to be stripped of many of the tools that I need to be an effective leader. It's difficult to read in the papers, despite the fact that I haven't given any interviews on this matter since June the 28th, so almost 3 weeks, that there is feuding and infighting going on, when in fact what this is a one-sided campaign to limit or to, taking it to its logical conclusion, end my leadership of this party. It's hard to explain to my kids what the impact of all of this has been and why this is happening in the first place. And more than anything, it is very frustrating exactly because we have such a wonderful party and so many wonderful candidates and so many wonderful volunteers. It's very hard to see that we are compromising our ability to do what we were born to do as a party, which is to elect as many Green MPs as possible. And so yeah, right? That's it. That's the bottom line. And so for me, I have thought many times over the last number of weeks of packing it in. And I think that anybody in my situation that is in it for the right reasons would have considered stepping down. Has been incredibly difficult and taken quite a toll. The reason that I haven't is because, you know, it should not be this difficult. It should not be this difficult for people of goodwill, people with experience, to offer it in service to their country. There are too many good people that have found it impossible, and I simply didn't want to be one of them. I haven't stopped because of the members who elected me not that long ago in a very lengthy democratic process. I haven't stopped because there are candidates, some standing behind me, who have given up a great deal and invested a great deal in running for us in the next election. And I also didn't want to let down all of the people, young, old, from different backgrounds, different underrepresented groups, who had asked me over the course of the last 8 to 9 months, is there a place for someone like me in politics? Is there a place for me? And I want the answer finally to be yes. And so I was not prepared to be the third woman in the course of a month who had offered her service, who was extremely qualified, who made the decision that there was no place for them in politics and that there was no way for them to contribute their service. I wasn't going to be that person. Every person brings their entire experience to politics. And in my case, absolutely, I bring my education and the rest of it. I bring my law degree from the University of Ottawa. I bring my master's degree in public affairs from Princeton University. I bring my fellowships, my national and international fellowships. I bring all the organizations that I founded. But I also bring the rest of myself as well. I bring my mother, who's here, who came here as an immigrant, along with my father with nothing. I bring my experience sleeping 3 in a fold-out bed in my grandma's living room. I bring all of that to politics as well, and that is the important part of the contribution that I can make to politics. So when my kids ask me, Mom, why do you keep going? Why have you kept going during this period when it's been so hard? What I tell them is that diversity in politics matters. And I tell them that you come from a family where we are both literally and figuratively survivors. I also tell them that as painful as this moment has been for us as a family, that it has been even more painful for people over the last year and a half during this pandemic. We have had a painful experience, but it has been nothing compared to those who have lost their loved ones unnecessarily in long-term care. Nothing compared to the pain of those communities who have been discovering the unmarked graves of their children's bodies across the country. Nothing compared to the searing pain in your throat of a forest fire out of control and your community smoked out. Nothing compared to the residents in Lytton who have lost their community as it burned to the ground. Nothing compared to the hundreds of people in Canada, particularly seniors, who escaped death during the pandemic, but then succumbed to death because of the heat dome that laid waste to British Columbia. So I see my experience in that context, and that is why I will go on. That is why I will seek to serve.